Freckles.
Good evening, America. I am the Big Red One guy reminding you that together we must break the machine. Today, I have a special guest, long friend of mine. I've been following her for a long time on Instagram. She's on Rumble. She can't stand YouTube, so we're doing this as a recording. And because I love her so much and she's a good friend of mine, I have to respect her wishes. All right, people. So this isn't a live like we usually do, it's a regular recording. Now, what you're gonna know about her is that she's a real deal. Okay, she's been in the movement, the MAGA movement, for quite some time. She knows Donald J. Trump personally. She's been to the White House. Uh, she's kind of done it all. All right, and she's like I said, she's the real deal. Um, I'm gonna introduce you to good friend of mine, Michelle Lynn Matthews, also known as inamimiminute. You've probably seen her on Instagram, and her her Rumble page, I believe, is fancimimi. Okay, so Michelle, go ahead and introduce yourself to the fans.
Hey everybody, I'm Michelle Lynn. Everybody knows me as Fancy Mimi or In a Mimi Minute. Um, yeah, and I've been with Trump since 2015. Yeah, been all part of the movement. What do you want to What do you want to know? Ask me.
Well, I mean, a lot of people, we hear a lot of stories. Of course, the Marxist state media, they do their hit pieces all the time. But those of us who know who Trump is, I grew up in New York. I know what he did in New York. I know the things that he did for people in New York. Okay, I know how he runs his business and whatnot. So I'm very familiar with him as a person. But there are a lot of stories that I don't know about, and you've been kind of up and personal with him. You got to hang out with him, and there's a furry in the background, and he's in the picture, and he's gonna get to hang with us tonight,
That's
guys.
Trump, baby.
Okay.
Orange cat, good.
See, orange cat, good. I like that. So what I would like you to do is, just take us through how you got into the MAGA movement with, and been part of the Trump machine, because like it is a machine and it is a fantastic machine that we all love, and we can't wait to see it back in the White House because we really need it. I personally, and I know a lot of people feel, personally feel it's more than half the country feels that we need him back in office. So if you can start from, hey, how did you get involved with the Trump administration? How'd you end up in, getting to see him in the White House? And Mar-a-Lago, I know we talked in the green room about you being going to Mar-a-Lago quite a few times. So if you could just get into it, start from the beginning.
All right. So thanks again for having me on. I met Trump for the first time in 2015. I was living in Sarasota, Florida. He was invited to come as the GOP Man of the Year event, and I was in the front row. He came out, he spoke. I've always loved Trump, I've always followed Trump. I was a teenage model like Ivanka, so I was very connected in that kind of way. I remember watching Trump in People magazine, especially during the divorce with Ivana. Read the book Art of the Deal, watched Apprentice, did all the things, always loved and fascinated by this man. So the event was over, and I don't usually follow the crowds. I tend to find my own exit out of things, especially
Hmm.
if it's a smaller venue. And I went out a side door and I literally walked right into Donald J. Trump.
That's
And
cool.
I was dressed up, of course, because it was an event and it was Trump. And so I looked like, little political Barbie. And I just walked right into him and I said, "Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry, Mr. Trump," because he was Mr. then. He hadn't
Right.
announced. And he goes, "Oh, it's okay." And his security came and then he's like, "No, no, no, she's fine." And he did, in true Trump fashion, he did the look me up and down. And
Yeah.
I'll never forget it. He says, "Well, look at you." And I said, "Well, you're welcome to look, Mr. Trump." I don't know where it came from, but that's what was said. And I'm just like, "We need you. We want you to run for president. We really hope that you do. Thank you for coming." La, 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 la. And then his car came and he got in his car and I was like, "Oh, I didn't get a picture. I can't believe I didn't get." Oh. And I'm like, "Mr. Trump, we didn't get a picture." He goes, "Next time, darling."
Yeah.
So I'm like, I'm just infatuated with him since, and I've been calling him my boyfriend ever since. Um, and then I, obviously watched as everybody else did when he came down the escalator and
Right.
made that famous announcement. And I just wanted to be a part of whatever that was.
Right.
And I knew a couple of people, and I just kept messaging Turning Point because I'm like,
Right.
this is the up and coming new machine that I want to be a part of if they're going to help Trump.
Right.
And became an ambassador with Turning Point,
Mhm.
and I was with them for a couple of years, and I grew out of it, they grew out of me, and
Right.
it was just parting ways.
Well, you're a very vocal person. I've known you. You say what's on your mind. It's one of the
And
things
that
that I appreciate about you. You don't hold your tongue, and that's
no,
we need more people like that in the space anyway.
yeah, I wasn't exactly what Turning Point wanted representing them anymore because they do work with a lot of college-aged kids,
Right.
and I'm out there dropping F-bombs, and I don't care.
Yeah.
I'm gonna use First Amendment, and I'm gonna use my Second Amendment too if it calls for it.
Right.
So we
Well,
parted ways.
for those of you, okay, for those of you, and I'm gonna ask her and let her explain, okay, something that happened to her for some crazy wackadoodle. And anyway, she'll at the end of this, she'll explain a little bit about what happened. But it was if you've been following her, you kind of know what happened. Go ahead. I'm
Well,
sorry.
long story short, I made a comment on Facebook. Some white liberal girl didn't agree with it.
An awful, an
Yeah,
awful affluent white female liberal. Yeah,
yes. And I ended up blocking her on Facebook. And like 4 hours later, she was in my driveway.
I remember that.
No idea who this girl was. Never seen her a day in my life. Freaked out that she found out where I lived and in such a short amount of time. So she's raging in her car and she's got her mask on because this is during COVID. And on the back of her car, it was like, beware, COVID is here. And this wackadoo, right? She looks like she's living in her car. She has hairy armpits, like everything that you would think like a white liberal woman would look like. This was like she's a meme, okay? She's like one of those memers
Right.
that you see that face and you're like, oh yeah, I don't want anything to do with that.
Yeah.
So we had it out back and forth. She left, but then she came back, and I had gone and run in and gotten my gun and my phone, and I started
Right.
videotaping everything.
Right.
And that's the video that made it infamous on social media. And then eventually, 2 years later, Turning Point
They
knocked me
axed you.
because of that video, because somebody who didn't like me at the time called Turning Point and pretended to be a donor and said, I don't think
Mm.
this is the proper girl to be representing Turning Point.
Fucking
So it
haterade
was the
everywhere.
whole nasty thing. And it was what it was because I was kind of
Right.
growing up at Turning Point
Right.
anyway.
Like you say you grew out of it.
Yeah.
But we're Gen Xers. We have, our frame of thought is different, and
Yeah.
we'll speak on that a little bit because I actually got an opinion of what Gen X like we really should be out speaking. But go ahead, get back into Trump. I want people to know.
Okay, so I was with Turning Point for those years that Trump was in office. So I was always going to the events and I was wrapped up in it. So yeah, I was part of the cult for a moment. I admit
Yeah.
it. It's very cult like when you're in it.
Yeah.
Um, and treating all these politicians like rock stars. Like, I'm just like, that's not really what we should be doing. Like, we should
Right.
be pressing them on why aren't they dealing with these issues that we're
Right.
facing in day to day life.
Yeah.
Like, you're not Mick Jagger. Sorry, you're just not. Um,
Yeah.
you're a servant that I voted to represent me. So that was great. I went to the White House a lot. It seemed like every other month I was getting on a plane and going back to DC. I was staying at the Trump Hotel in DC, which
Hmm.
was a total and luxurious dream. Um, I made it to the Oval Office in the West Wing once.
Hmm.
Usually I was only in the East Wing. I got a lot of attention when I was at the White House because a lot of people thought I was Melania, which was so
Yeah.
funny. People would come
Yeah.
up to me all the time and want a picture, and I'm like, I'm not her. I'm not who you think I am.
Yeah.
Um, so that was really fun and unique, and I got to take my dad to meet President Trump and Air
That's
Force
cool.
One, September of 2019. We
Oh, so wait a minute. You flew in Air Force One with them?
No, 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 no. We just went to greet it as it landed.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
That's pretty.
So
Still
we were
pretty dope.
out on the tarmac at like midnight. He had just announced he was going to run for reelection in Orlando. And he
Hmm.
flew back to Miami. And we met him at the airport and got to greet Air Force One and President Trump when he came down the stairs. And then he came over and talked to us for a bit and thanked my dad a lot for his service. So when the other side says that Trump calls them losers and suckers, it's
He
bull
doesn't. Yeah,
because
he doesn't. He's
I
never done that.
know how generous President Trump was with his time, thanking my dad for his service. And
Right.
it was fun to watch the two because they're like men, and they were
Yeah.
like, "Arr, arr, arr." So it was
Yeah.
really fun to see those
Yeah.
talk. and him thanking my
Are
dad for.
they around the same age too? Because if they're around the same age,
Yeah,
that's even yeah.
yeah, they're around the same age. Yeah, I think Trump is only like maybe a year or two older than my dad.
Yeah.
So it was really cool, and we got a picture, and I'll never forget. I was like, "Oh, I want to get my dad in the picture." He's like, "Where's your dad?" I'm like, "Dad, come over." He's like, "Dad, get the hell over here. We're gonna take a picture." So funny. So we get in
Yeah,
the picture, and I share it every Father's Day. Happy Father's Day to
it's
my
pretty dope.
um. And so when we lost re-election in 2020, when they stole it from us,
Yeah.
that was probably one of the most stressful times of my life
You know,
because I
just
had this whole plan for, you know, campaigning in 2020, and it
right.
never happened.
I you know, I tell people all the time that it's frustrating to me because for months Donald Trump was telling us exactly what was going to happen, right? He was on the airwaves telling exactly how they're going to do it, everything from the ballot harvesting to the early voting and all and stuff like that.
And the
Um,
did
and what got me upset, and I tell people it's like the legal steal, right? All these Republican held how state legislatures in swing states because they were held by Republicans at the time and they still are to my knowledge, okay, did absolutely nothing for months. They let their board of elections change the rules in their states because of COVID and didn't push back. And like I said, the man was telling us for months. So to me, I was like, this is a concerted effort by the fucking the uniparty. Okay, the Republican machine and the Democrat machine are together, and they managed to do this shit legally. But it's still a fucking cheat, and they still fucking won. Okay, and then it just upsets me. And even watching after 2020, here we are in 2024 and states still haven't made some changes, right? And it's like it's driving me crazy. I personally think though now, and we'll get segue, this is a good segue right into the next thing that we can talk about, but we're going to get back to Trump because we have to talk about your time getting to hang with him at Mar-a-Lago as well. But this is a good segue to talk about Bobby Kennedy.
yeah.
Okay.
Last
I
night
personally,
was sick. Last night
yeah,
was sick.
last night was in my lifetime one of the most impressive political things that has ever happened in my life. Okay, because I again, like I said in the beginning, I know who Trump is. I know that he's a man that makes deals with people, regardless of whether they align on everything, okay, that he's aligned with, right? So Bobby Kennedy and him, if you do one of fucking, Kamala's favorite things, a Venn diagram, there are quite a few things that overlap between Trump and Bobby Kennedy. Okay. They don't see eye to eye on everything, but there are a bunch of things that they do. So, seeing him on the stage, I was like, you know what? Both him and Trump got an axe to grind with the fucking deep state, okay, with both the Democrat and Republican fucking establishment and in the Marxist state media. So this is I was like, this is fantastic. All right, this is great. This is gonna, I hope Bobby Kennedy gets on his cabinet when he if and when he gets reelected. I personally think now he's probably going to get reelected. I have a better hope now than I did probably about a week ago. But what are your thoughts on Bobby Kennedy coming out and supporting Trump?
I have been waiting. I was wanting maybe a Trump Kennedy ticket,
Right.
um, but then I knew that wasn't going to happen, and was really really hoping for a Trump Tulsi ticket.
Yeah.
TNT Dynamite. She's
Yeah.
so badass. She used to be a Democrat, and she's independent now. And I don't agree with everything, but I don't agree with everything that Trump does either. So
Yeah,
um,
true. I mean, that's the thing. Again, that's one of the
I'm
things
allowed to
that
be critical of my elect.
yeah. Yeah. And you and I we've talked obviously, this is the first time we're talking on a kind of face to face, but we talked a lot through Instagram and recently through texting. We both agree that we don't agree with everything that Trump does, right? Like we're not 100% on the things, but I'm probably 90% on on the things that he does because I know who he is.
Yeah.
I know what he's done, I know what he's created in his life, and I don't have a I have a short-term memory just like everybody else. I remember what it was like 4 years ago and how good we had it. So, but go ahead back to your comments on Bobby Kennedy.
Oh yeah. Last night was amazing. It was just goosey. I watched his presser, and then I watched Trump's presser, and then I watched them together on stage in Arizona. It was just amazing the way that place lit up,
Yeah.
and that would have never happened on a Democrat stage had
No.
they brought out a Republican. It just wouldn't happen.
No.
And the fact that
It,
MAGA embraced Bobby,
Yeah.
because they know that this is bringing unity to the independents and the moderates.
Yeah.
And we can work together and get rid of this three-letter agency shithole that our government's become.
The alphabet mobs are fucking out of
Well,
control,
the
and we need
alphabet
to
mob
definitely
is
do something.
another thing. Those are the
Yeah.
gays and the
Well,
trans and the this and the that.
I
You
to
know,
me, I
I
lump them all in together, but I know what you mean. The alphabet mob is out of control too. That alphabet mob is out of control as well.
yes. So yeah, I just really loved it. I love that he came out to Foo Fighters, my hero, and
Yeah.
Foo Fighters if they want to be all with their panties in a twist about it.
Yeah, they got their G strings fucking crammed really up their crack on that one.
It's like if you want to be like a top celebrity, you have to read the script and shut up. So that's what
Yeah.
no turn against the machine and who MK ultra them in the first place.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I think it's a great thing, and I have a feeling that we might see Bobby take the role that his father had as Attorney General.
Yeah, that I would, you know what, I wouldn't mind seeing that because, again, politically, probably 90% of the stuff that Bobby Kennedy talks about, I don't agree with, right? But there's
No,
like that, there's that 10% that I'm like, yeah, I'm on board with. What I do think that if he takes a job like Attorney General, I think that he's just gonna go in and absolutely unfuck the Department of Justice.
well,
Okay,
Uncle
he
finished
has a serious
gay.
axe to grind because
Yeah,
it's not only for what they're doing to him right now, right? Like the Democrats, well, I call them the American Communist Party because they're no longer Democrats in my mind. Okay, they have their machine, which is a very big and powerful machine, did everything they can to keep not only keep them off ballots. Obviously, there was no debating or anything like that. They did everything they can to just to hurt this man, okay? And so he has that axe to grind with the current one, but he also has an axe to grind because he's never been given the full information in regards to not only his father but his uncle, who was the president of the United States. And we saw Trump yesterday promise him, hey, if I get back in, I'm gonna put you on ahead of a fucking commission to not
yeah,
only to look into both those assassinations and my assassination attempt. So I think he'd be very happy with that, and it's something he could finally get closure, right? Like he's never really had closure in regards to his father and his uncle, right? First he watched
yeah,
his uncle get killed, okay, and then his father got killed a couple of years later. So, he's never really had closure about that. So I hope obviously, listen, we need Trump in office because just the things that we know that he can do because we've seen him do it, and the way the world is going right now, we can. I was talking to my mom last time. I was like, Mom, if if for some reason we lose this election, okay, the path to the dark side is going to be fucking faster than it is right now. We fortunately, even with the bumbling idiot Republicans that we have in the House right now, okay, they've done enough to stop and slow it down the best they can, right? The ones that are actually trying to work to stop it, right? Because we got enough rhinos that need to get taken care of too. That's a whole other conversation and another talk show. But so Bobby Kennedy coming out was a fantastic thing. I'm glad that we're gonna get some unity. He's definitely gonna bring some. He's gonna lose some independents, but not too many. Most of them, I think, are gonna come back over to our side. Any Republicans that I think went over to his side, that were a little bit more moderate, maybe not necessarily MAGA, I think they're gonna come back home. They see what's going on. They're not stupid. And one of the things that I've been watching that's just amazing to watch. Like we see it, just seeing these young people, okay, in particular in minority communities, just fucking opening up and just being like, nah, we ain't voting for Kamala and all this other stuff. And in particular in the black community, and I'm
yes,
just like, wow, this is a crazy, this is a movement that nobody's capturing unless you follow people like, the Right Wing Angel and Chad Jackson and stuff like that. If you're not following these people, and I don't know if you've heard of Gothics.
yeah,
um
yeah, yeah.
yeah, she's if you're not following people like them, okay,
And
you're not
Montaga, don't forget Montaga.
and Montaga, that's right. God, Montaga was like one of the originals. He's an OG. So yeah,
Yeah, he's an
he's
OG.
an OG. I can't forget Montaga. Yeah, yo, Montaga, if you happen to see this at some point, my bad, brother. I didn't mean to leave you out of it, man. He's an OG and he's been in the fight. Um, you know, he woke up a long time ago. He probably
Yeah,
was never
on the
even
phone
on the
with
plant. The way he speaks, he was never on the plantation. I know my family's never been on the plantation, so it's just a good thing to see. And
yeah,
it's I'm glad to see it. And like this thing that they're trying to do with Hispanics is not working either. Hispanics are not trying to have it either. They're
no,
everybody understands what we had. Everybody understands the prosperity we had as a nation, right? Every demographic across the board, okay, was doing fantastic. If you were an entrepreneur in this country 4 years ago, you were in a great place. So but it's just great to see. What are your thoughts on this awakening that's happening not only among like the young generation, because it's happening with Gen Z
Yeah,
too, okay, but also with what we see in the minority communities.
I love it. I love that the black community is waking up. They should be. Like, it just doesn't make sense to continue to vote for the same people year after year after year, and they only come around every 4 years knocking on your door, and they make you all these promises, and they haven't done shit. Okay, and not to mention, if you want to take it further back, let's go into Margaret Sanger, who invented Planned Parenthood to rid
Uh,
the race of the Negro. Her
yep.
words, not mine. And she plants them in neighborhoods that
Yeah.
obviously shows her eugenics. And then you want to take it back even further. The Democrats are indeed the party of the KKK, slavery, and segregation.
Yeah.
But and no, the parties never switch. It's just what I don't believe. Like, they keep believing these stupid lies that the government keeps telling them to
So
make them chained to the plantation.
so what you have to understand is, right, like the Marxist movement goes back to so this is talking about everything you just saying. We're going to go back even further. The Marxist movement in this country goes back to the late 1800s,
Yep.
okay, when Marxism came to a thing in Europe. It it spread out and it hit itself here in the United States, and over, got to say, definitely over a century, they've managed to infiltrate every institution, including our churches, okay, because like the church,
Definitely.
no matter what your denomination is, the antithesis of communism, okay, and Marxism, and they've always fought against Christianity in general. So, being that we're
Because
a
Mark is
Christian country,
the devil and must destroy everything beautiful that God ever created.
yeah, that they just, they're atheists and they don't believe in God anyway. So like like you
They-
said, they want to destroy everything.
yeah.
But going to, now to lead into what you were talking about, right? Part of the movement, the Marxist movement, okay, was to take minorities, right, and use them, right, because they saw, right, we had the issue with slavery in this country. They saw that, okay, we had segregation up into the 50s. They saw that and they used that. All right. And they went ahead and they got their leaders in those same communities, in the black
Yeah.
community, okay, and eventually in the Hispanic community, as more Hispanics started to come here. All right. And they infiltrated and they taught these people on how to be good Marxists. Okay. With the belief that if you just take from everybody else, you'll get what you deserve. And it's been entrenched, unfortunately, in like the black community and, to an extent in the Hispanic community. And it's just a movement that we have to absolutely drill out. And Trump, I feel, was on the path to doing that. Did he make some mistakes with people that he hired in the first administration? Of
They,
course. All right. He was listening to people that he thought had his
he
back.
thought he
All
trusted.
right. But he knows, he said it on more than one occasion. I remember I was listening to him on Dr. Phil, and he
Yeah.
looked at Dr. Phil and he looked at him. He said, "Yeah, I know who the players are this time. It's not the same. The game is not the same for him. Okay, he understands what's at stake, and I know what
And
he's
that's
gonna,
why they tried
do."
to kill him.
Yeah, yeah, they tried to take him out. They try to take our boy out, and he fucking, listen.
Well,
God put his hand on him and said, "Not today, Satan.
that's
It's
it.
not happening today."
God said,
Um,
move your head.
yep. He told him turn fucking turn
God was like,
left.
boom.
Yeah, he's like turn left. It's just a sad thing that we even had to talk about an assassination attempt and stuff like that. It's a sad thing that
God, it
knowing our,
was an attempt, and it wasn't
say
successful.
say again.
Thank God it was just an attempt and it wasn't successful. All but, of course,
Yeah.
the fire chief who lost his life.
Yes, the unfortunate, the fire chief who lost his life.
Yeah.
Um,
Who
you know,
literally laid his life down for his wife and daughter.
he did. He covered his wife and daughter.
Yep.
And so let's give a shout out to that family. I don't know if their GoFundMe is still up. I know it ran up for a long time. I did a what do you call it, a live when that happened, and I put the GoFundMe in my. So if anybody wants to look back, look in my history alive.
Trump
It's not,
actually,
it's dated as the date that the Trump assassination. There's an actual picture of him with his fist up in the air as my, what do you call it, as my thumbnail. So if you want to look for the GoFundMe to see if it's still active, it's on that video.
Trump
Um,
is going
so
back to Butler, and he's invited the wife to join him on stage.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
So are you still, just to get back into your stuff with Trump, you've spent recently a lot of time in Mar-a-Lago. Are you
Mhm.
still doing like the surrogate type stuff for him?
I mean, I'm doing whatever I can do for him at the moment. Um, I raised some money earlier this year for his campaign, and that's what allowed me the privilege to go to Mar-a-Lago.
Hmm.
At one point, I actually brought Montaga with me that
Oh,
evening, and
that's awesome.
brought a bunch of people with me. and Tony was one of them.
That's awesome.
I had gone.
Tony loves Trump.
Tony
He's posted plenty
loves
of videos.
him,
He loves Trump.
like that's my, you know.
You got a relationship with him. Tell him he needs to come hang with me on a live so we can talk and dialogue.
Yeah,
I would love to talk to him because he's got a lot of great things to say, especially to the community. And I want him, he doesn't need my voice because he's got his own voice and his platform is way bigger than mine. But I would just love to dialogue with him. If you could help me set that up, Mimi, Michelle, I'd be so happy.
yeah, no, totally. You can call me Mimi. I don't care. Everybody does.
I love you. You're awesome.
Yeah, so that was the second time I went to Mar-a-Lago, and I got a picture with the president. Um, and like we had taken pictures before, but this one was
Right,
just something special because I was all dressed up and it was a professional photo.
right.
And I just went in there and I shook his hand. I said, it's good to see you again, Mr. President. Um, is it okay if I give you a hug? And
Right.
yes, so I gave him a hug and I said, I want you to know that we're all we're praying for you. This was an hour after he got the verdict in New York that he owed $540 billion or some shit like that, right?
Fucking
So
scam.
he could have been in a shit mood, but he was like
Yeah.
as gracious as he always was. And so I know we're praying for you, Mr. President. What they're doing to you is absolute bullshit. He looks at me, he goes, "It is bullshit, isn't it?" I said, "Complete and utter bullshit." I said, "Now, would it be okay if I held your arm for this photo?" He goes, "Of course, darling."
Yeah, I love that. That photo, I love by the way, the photo was her avatar on all her socials, and it's actually a fantastic photo of her with Trump. And
It's a great photo.
it is pretty dope. It's a dope picture. I just, I listen. I'm jealous of the people that got to meet him. Because I lived in New York and have never came across. I used to work around the corner from his building, the Trump Tower in New York
Okay.
City, and I used to go over there sometimes for lunch. But try to see if I could catch him. This was way before. This was last time I was there was around
For the
2004.
world's greatest taco ball. The
Yeah,
taco
it was
bowls
like
are so good here.
yeah, yeah, I know. I saw it. That was pretty funny. In 2015 was the last time I was in that building. I was working like a couple of blocks away on Fifth Avenue, and I used to, what do you call it? I used to go into the building just to try to catch him. And then,
Yeah.
of course, the day that I'm not in the building eating lunch or something like that, he fucking comes down the escalator to say to announce. I'm like, motherfucker. I was like, how the fuck are you gonna do me like that? I could have been in the building that day. So but all right, so are you doing anything for his campaign at this point? Because I know you were in Mar-a-Lago recently.
Uh-huh.
Am I right? Am I correct on that?
I was there in November.
Okay.
That was my first trip to Mar-a-Lago. Was in November. I accompanied a friend at the time, and yeah, like I was in the receiving line, and Trump just stopped and like kind of held my hand and talked to me for a moment, and he kind of did the "well, look at you" thing, like he always flirts.
Yeah.
It's so funny. I love it though, so I'm not going to complain. Um,
Yeah.
when Donald Trump flirts with you, you definitely you're like, yeah. Um, so that was really great. And then back in February, and then I was there on Super Tuesday.
Okay.
That was an absolute shit show. Then it was just so much media, and I
Right.
remember I was interviewed by the New York Times, and I was interviewed by a Japanese television station.
The Japanese.
I was interviewed by somebody else I don't remember, but
Hmm.
yeah. At the moment, I'm not doing anything but social media.
Okay.
Um, I'm not traveling or anything with him at the moment. I'm not doing any
Right.
campaigning at the moment. Um, it's really going to get into it in probably like probably at the end of this month,
Yeah.
in the start September, then it's really going to get into it. And I'll be
Yeah.
out making phone calls, talking to people.
Right.
I'll talk to my clients all day. Most of my clients are for Trump. Most of my clients come to see me because they want to know what's going on with the campaign because they don't listen
Right.
to him. I do have a couple of Democrat clients. We just don't talk politics because we genuinely
Right.
like each other.
Yeah.
Can't talk politics with them because they get all bajiggity, and I think it's
Yeah.
because deep down they know that they're living a lie and they're just not
Yeah.
going to themselves. So you're going to get for like saying
And
you don't like
listen,
talk to
and
me like a normal person.
But you know what? But you know what though, Michelle, you're a respectful person anyway. They already know what your politics are, and they're there for a cut. So it's not like you're trying to browbeat them with your politics. So you're trying to
No,
take care of. You're giving them a service, so you're trying to take care of them. And
yeah,
it just it leads me to what we were talking about with the Foo Fighters earlier, right? Like
Yeah,
half your fucking audience, okay. I still listen to the music from the 1990s. I know all those guys were fucking,
sure.
raging against the machine, right? That was like the whole message, not just the
And now
band.
they are the
Okay.
machine.
Now they are the machine. Now they love the machine. Except for Zach. Like I said, Zach is still he's still keeping it real, from Rage Against the Machine. But you know, it's just like it, they're allowed to they're obviously allowed, they're human, they're allowed to have their opinions, right? They're allowed to have, whatever side of the spectrum they're on, they're allowed to have it, okay? But when half your fans are probably in the audience too, and you open your mouth, just because you hate somebody is just stupid. And then when somebody's playing your music at their event, no matter whether it's political or not, it's free press.
There's just
And it's
bad
and if
publicity.
you
You
it's
know,
not, it's like, yeah, you just give yourself bad publicity.
didn't Michael Jordan say, "I sell sneakers to Republicans and Democrats.
Yeah, he did. You
I'm
think
not
Michael Jordan?
involved with politics," he said.
Yeah, I'm sure
Because he's
he's got
a
his
smart
political
man.
opinions. Yeah, plus
Dolly
he's got.
Parton doesn't get into it either. She's like,
Yeah,
"My
she doesn't.
Democrat, my mother was a Republican, so I'm a
Yeah,
Republicrat."
yeah. But again, it's like she understand. I'm sure she has her deep opinions, like every other
Of
human
course,
being
he
on the
sells
planet. But
both people.
yeah, it just
So
makes no
people,
sense to ostracize half your audience. It's just
like,
dumb.
most of us would love to be on a platform as large as them with
Yeah,
millions of followers and playing
yeah,
music all day long. But
yeah,
no, we're out here breaking our backs for shit money that the government comes in and takes half of anyways.
yeah.
You know,
And that's before the state gets it, and then what you get taxed for, goods and gas
you
and all that. By the time it's like 70% by the time you're done. It's just
can't
it's
buy
amazing to me.
it anymore. You just can't.
Yeah, it's
Buy
amazing to
I
me.
know how hard it is. I feel bad for these people coming up. I'm like, there's no way that the younger generation is ever going to be able to own a home, ever.
Yeah,
It's like you own nothing and you will like it.
yeah, the boomers, which leads me to when I was saying that, as Gen Xers, we need to start speaking out, because the boomers,
Totally,
obviously not all the boomers, but the boomers have fucking they've fucked this country up. And
totally.
and as Gen Xers, we're the generation that has kept quiet, okay? Because we
But
we
we're
just
the
kind
I
of.
don't give a fuck generation, so I don't understand where have our
Yeah.
fucks gone.
Yeah, I know. That's so we're the generations, like, I don't give a fuck about this and that and whatever.
Like
Fuck
we
you,
raised
fuck him, fuck
ourselves.
them.
We were latchkey kids. We didn't have
We
race relations.
we
We're like,
need
oh,
to.
you're cool, you can hang with us. Oh, you're an asshole, you can't hang with us. It,
Yeah, yeah. We talked about this before. Like, we had shit figured out, right? Like, it
we
was like,
totally figured out.
what you do behind closed doors is your fucking business. Just leave me out of it and leave my
Yeah,
family and my kids out of it. The minute
totally.
you get into my space, then we're gonna have fucking problems.
That's it.
You know, um,
Start none
you
more.
know, but our generation has to come out. We have to come out. Uh, Gen Z and Gen A. Gen A is a little bit more conservative than Gen Z. They're
Yeah,
finding, but I did and it's on YouTube, and I posted it on Rumble as well. I did a video about how Gen Z's bringing Jesus back, how they're going back to church and stuff like that and everything, and I thought that was something special.
not that you
And
need to go to church to worship Jesus.
huh?
Not that you need to go to church to worship Jesus.
Yeah, I mean, it just, like I said, it just depends on, I guess, on your denomination and how you feel. But like about that, but I personally agree with that too. Like, I have my relationship with Jesus. But
Believe
but I'm saying
not a religion.
as a whole, people going to church kind of stopped, right? Like, there was a reduction in this
Oh,
country, and
yeah,
it's good to see like the younger generation wanting to go
I
back
get
to that. So like,
it.
but they're
Have,
looking for tradition is what they're looking for, and
yeah,
I and,
no,
and
they
I'm
are.
okay with that. And as Gen Xers, a lot of us are very traditional, and I think it's up to our generation to open our mouth and give them a fucking helping hand, because like many of us are hurting too. We're not hurting as bad as them, all right? But the
Right.
millennials, most of the millennials are lost. Okay, they're fucking batshit crazy. A lot of them, not all of them. There's a lot of good millennials, obviously, but Gen Z they're looking for fucking, hey, we need some help. We need direction. If you give me the direction, we'll do it, okay, and we'll go in the right direction. Just point me in the way, and then I'll do it, right? Like, that's the way that generation is. Just tell me where you want me to go and how this is supposed to happen, and I'll fucking work on it. So I think our generation has to, like I said, we got to come out and be more vocal, because many of us are in governments too, right? So like, we should really be trying to fix things, all right? Because like, the Gen Z kids are our kids. Some cases, depending on when you were born as a Gen Xer, they're your grandkids now and stuff like that. And Gen A might be your great grandkid, because we had kids at early ages and stuff like that. Our generation, but we have to be more vocal. So, this is one of the reasons why I started this channel is because like I'll do my articles, but when I do my lives, I like talking to people because it's just like we have to get our voice has to we have a loud voice when we open our mouth. Gen X, we're pretty fucking loud when we want to be.
Yeah, we just have to get it to resonate.
Yeah, I agree. Our delivery is straight up, so like sometimes people don't get it. It's like, yo, I'm
No,
telling you straight up.
they're like, "Oh, you're just as bad as Trump. You're so mean."
Yeah.
No, I'm just being honest. And if you can't take brutal honesty, then I don't know what to tell you, soy boy. Like,
Oh
seriously,
my God.
time to like,
Yeah,
who
yeah, the
cares
beta,
what I
the
say?
so
Pay attention to
this
what I do.
yeah. Yeah, right. I say that all the time. Yeah, pay attention to what I do, not what I say. Because what I do is going to show you. Well, anytime I say I'm going to do something, I'm doing it. Okay, and what I say, I'm usually doing what I say. So,
Yeah.
but if you just pay attention to what I do, you see what I'm talking
We had
about.
moments that say, "Do as I say, not as I do."
Yeah. Oh, I lived through a lot of that. So, especially in the military, I lived through a lot of do as I say, not as I do type
Oh,
shit.
I'm
Um,
with the first sergeant as a father. Okay,
oh yeah. So
so
then you
I,
grew up.
I'm
You
an
grew.
army brat.
Is he a Vietnam guy?
No, he was Desert Storm.
Okay, so he
Um,
was all
he,
right.
Dad was special operations. He was a night stalker in the army. So
Mm,
that's special operations in the middle of the night. They go and do rescue. If you ever saw the
yeah.
movie Black Hawk Down,
Yeah,
those are
yeah, no, I know.
that's
Yeah,
my
no, I know who the Night Stalkers are.
yeah.
Yeah.
Night stalkers don't quit. NSDQ.
Yeah. No, they're pretty low key, like you don't know much about them because of the
No,
mission. Most of the missions that they do
they don't find
are,
out who they
yeah,
are.
they do some serious shit. They're
Yeah,
always in the middle of things. To this day, they're still in the middle of things and stuff like that. So yeah, I
yeah.
know who the Night Stalkers are. I've come
Mhm.
across them in my time,
Oh, I'm sure.
in the military. I wasn't an operator, but like we know who they are. We've come across them. We did missions in in country in Iraq with
Oh,
special operations. As that like doing shit like that. Or, being in a line company, you would do stuff like out of cordon stuff while like they did raids. Of course, we did our own raids. We didn't do them with special forces, but yeah, I know who those guys are. I've come across them on more than one occasion.
yeah,
They've fucking flown some of the over some of the dirt traps that I fucking walked on. So I know who they are. Big good breed those guys.
yeah.
Uh, good guys, all of them.
Good
And
guy.
gals. I don't they don't do gals yet, I think, with them, do
Mm-mm.
they?
There's no girls and
I don't think they do gals in the Night Stalkers. They do gals everywhere else as far as pilots, but I don't think the Night Stalkers. I don't know. Hey, if anybody is listening to this who knows anything just remotely about the
maybe
Night Stalkers, if
I
you
don't know. There was not
drop the shit,
today.
drop it in the comments.
There was a couple of little light in the loafers fellas in the hangar. But
Oh yeah, well, but even with that, right? Like so, like all right. So I got to be on active duty on two different times. I was on active duty during the Clinton years, um, right at the beginning of his presidency, and the I've always felt like the don't ask don't tell was probably the perfect thing,
no, for
right?
sure.
Because like we just I knew what was going to happen when things changed, and I'll get to that in a minute. But you know we kind of knew who was fucking, who was sweet as bear meat, right? He's a little finer than frog hair, that motherfucker right there. But it's all right. He gets in a foxhole with me. He's gonna do his thing. We don't give a shit. He's gonna put the rounds down range. We don't really give a fuck, right? And I'm not gonna ask him or her about their lifestyle because it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter to me. My lifestyle is mine, right? What they do behind closed doors is fine. Just leave me alone. And I think the whole don't ask, don't tell thing was great. Now, from a flip side of that, if obviously if you were living that life, and you just kind of wanted to be out, in your mind, you felt like it sucked that you couldn't be who you wanted to be in the military without getting in trouble, right? But then when things happened under Obama, okay, and my second time in the military was under Bush, in Iraq. I got out the year the year that Obama got elected. That was like my last year, so I got out just in time. But my son served under Obama, okay, and I remember the shit he went through. He was fixing F-18s and stuff like that, and they were trying to find parts in museums and shit like that in order to fix fucking jets. It was stories he has. He's like, Dad, we didn't get parts like when we needed it. It was like, it was just crazy. But my son served, and a lot of people I know served under Obama, but um once he changed things and he was like, "Oh, it's free to do," I said, "Okay, all right, I see. It's free for them to be open about it. Okay, I get it. Fine, but watch what's gonna happen. they're gonna end up disrespecting the uniform. And what
That's
have they done? Many of them, they become fucking drag queens, and you see them posting on social media in their uniform doing shit. And then we having drag shows on Air Force bases and stuff like that for kids, around kids and everything. And I'm like, I saw that shit coming. When that happened, I was like, yeah, this is what's coming next, because it's just the alphabet mob is gonna be the alphabet mob, whether you like it or not.
it.
So all right, so going back to, because we kind of went off topic there, which is fine because that's what I do, I rant. uh so with Trump, you said you'll be, obviously you're doing your stuff on social media with him. You have no contact with the campaign anymore, like direct contact, or are
Oh
they
no,
gonna,
I
are you
still
gonna be
have the campaign. I was actually
okay, all right.
talking to I was talking to Lynn Patton just a week ago.
I follow her too, I love her.
Yeah.
So all the people that I love, and I wish I could just say hi to them.
We'll get you there. We'll get you there. You just really got to like be active on their
Yeah.
social and get their attention. It's what I
Yeah.
did.
You know what? I don't get upset about it. I talk to everybody, right? I leave messages. These people, like some of these people got big accounts, right? So
Yeah.
I don't expect them to just see mine and be like, "Hey, I'm going to go talk to this dude." It is what it is. If they get around to me and see me, they get around to see me. It's just what it
Yeah.
is. I'm not anybody fucking special. For me it's just as you see, I like to talk to people. So like I like to pick people's brains. I want to get into, what are you doing, how's this going, and your story. I think your story is very interesting, how you met Trump at an event, and then it just went from there.
I
When
mean,
I
it's
started.
really, I just fell ass backwards into all of it. I just really did. Like
Yeah,
God had a plan for me, and He just placed me in just the
it
perfect.
happens like that,
Right?
but it happens like that
But
sometimes.
who meets like who randomly meets Donald Trump and then just boom, all of a sudden like in it to win it?
Believe it or not, before he became president, it was very common in New York City to run into Donald Trump,
Oh,
right? Because he would visit
but I ran.
his construction site. No, but I'm saying, like, obviously as the president, just meeting the president, whoever the president is, like, just how are you going to meet the president? So like, you being able to, like, kind of, you've been on board since the beginning, which is one of the reasons why I started following you, because once you started posting things about Trump, I was going to vote for him, and you popped up in my feed. And I got on Instagram shortly after my fucking ex fucking kicked me to the curb for some younger dude. So I was like, it's it believe me, I miss the cats more than I miss her. um
I don't blame
you
you
know
there.
so like I got on Instagram, and like I used to just watch YouTube and stuff like that, just for like music videos. I never really watched it for anything. So I got on Instagram 2015 at 2016. But I don't think I started following you until it was probably about 17 or 18. You popped up in my feed because I
Yeah,
was looking, how the algorithms work. I was looking for like stuff on Trump on social
hopefully
media.
have shadow
And
ban.
then
Like
and then what yeah.
I
And then yeah,
can't know.
I've seen all your shadow bans on Instagram. I've been through all of them with you, and and
So
just being able.
frustrating.
It is
You're
frustrating.
like, get your iron boot of communism off of my digital neck.
Like I told you, like, remember if you remember about 2 weeks ago, I texted you back on Instagram. I was like, yes, Zuck got me. I can't use. They told me I'm not allowed to use the branding. It's like my page isn't even that big. I was like, I got like fucking 60 followers. What the hell are they talking about branding? I'm not in any position to be branding, So I'm just like,
Zuck
it's hilarious.
vote for Trump. You know he's voting.
Oh yeah, yeah.
He's
Who, Zuck?
gonna vote for Trump. You know it.
Yeah, Zuck is definitely. He listen. Some of his recent comments, especially after the assassination attempt. Yeah, he's voting.
He's like, that's
You know
the most
what?
badass thing I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, yeah. He's
Then
definitely.
why
I don't give a
wouldn't
fuck
you
what
vote
he
for
says. Yeah, yeah.
me? A break. Biden can't even handle the bicycle or stairs.
I know. Can't go
Trump
up a flight
handled
of
a
stairs.
pole and said, fuck off.
Yeah, it's good to see Trump's coalition now, going back to Trump and his
Yeah,
coalition, right? Like, so when this coalition started was probably around the Iowa caucus, and
yeah.
when Vivek stepped off and he realized I'm not even gonna make it out of Iowa, right? Vivek's not a stupid dude. He's like, I'm just gonna jump on the Trump train, and I think that actually I think that was the first step that helped Trump, right? Because
Yeah.
Vivek is a very tech savvy guy. He's very in on podcasts and all that stuff. I think he's the one who initially got into Trump's ear about, hey, you know, the youth are just looking for a message. Go on TikTok,
Super.
go on these podcasts, and Trump's been doing that, right? We talked once before that You are right there?
No, it's just like all of a sudden it's raining outside. I'm like, it's
Oh, well,
like
you are in Florida.
welcome to Florida, y'all. It's bi-
Yeah. And then, you know, with after Vivek, Tulsi started to come around
love
on some
her
stuff
so
and everything.
much. I love her so much.
I'm still my only thing with her, maybe because I haven't done enough to look. Like I know about Tulsi Gabbard. I know she's a good person. I've always respected her service to the nation. As far as being in the military, her and I served in Iraq around the same time. So like I have total respect for her and everything. And even disagreeing with her on like a lot of things, I still respected her because she's always been upfront and she's never changed. The only thing that has got me right now is that I don't know. I know she changed on the Second Amendment, obviously. Okay. I know that she realized after what the Democrat machine did to her,
Yep.
okay, that it's not worth being a Democrat anymore. So that kind of changed her a little bit. What I want to know with her is, where do you still stand on shit like the Green New Deal and socialized medicine? Those are the two things I'm waiting to hear from her. If she's made a change on that, she'll have me completely. Well, we talked about this probably a couple of months ago. She'll have me completely. I do think that she deserves. I'd love to see her as the Secretary of Defense. I'd love to see that because I think she'll go and unfuck the Department of Defense, and they wouldn't know how to deal with her. All right, because she'll go in there and just fucking unfuck it all, because it is a mess. The Department of Defense is a mess right now.
Yeah, and we need to put Bongino as head of the FBI.
I'd love to see that. Danny Bongino. Oh my god, that'd be that.
I love him
Again, so
so
but
hard.
again, the Trump coalition now, right? Like they're not all MAGA. So we got
We got
Vivek, and I
Elon,
talked
we got
about.
Tulsi.
Yeah, I was about to. That's what I said. We got Tulsi, right? And then just recently he had Elon Musk.
Yeah,
Okay, and then he talked to Elon Musk for 3 hours. I did a live for that. Okay, and I sat through the whole thing to listen, and it was just two dudes talking about how do we save this country. You had two captains of industry, one in tech, okay, and one in construction, and just taking the presidency out of that, right? Just two dudes,
yeah. It was like two
captains of industry
talking on the
talking.
phone that you got to
Yeah,
listen on.
yeah, and you got to listen to it. And just this is what we need to do. And
Yeah,
then when he said, "I'd love to bring you on a commission," now I was like, now he's got Elon Musk on board, right? And then he has Bobby Kennedy. Okay, so there's like a coalition that he's doing that's absolutely fantastic because we need everybody right now, right?
yeah,
It can't just be us. The Marxist state media has complete control of the fucking message, right? So the only way we can do it
yeah.
is we have to do it on independent outlets, like Rumble, like YouTube, like Twitter or slash X. That's still gonna be Twitter to me.
I know. It's,
Okay. I'll always call it Twitter. If you're on True Social, I get on True Social, but like the big platforms like Instagram and Twitter, okay, are still very important. YouTube, like YouTube does their they do their censoring. They've actually have not censored me, surprisingly enough, okay, with some of the shit that I've said on some of my videos and stuff
that's
like that, and my life. I'm thoroughly surprised. But I don't know. Yes, I don't say anything that's like not known,
no.
so we talk about shit. Um, huh?
Do you do TikTok?
I don't do TikTok yet because I have to figure that out. Huh?
I don't want to start over on something new.
Yeah, I don't do TikTok. I've been, people are like, you should get on TikTok because of
I know.
they're like your voice with the youth, they'll listen to you. And I'm like, my
It's
thing is
good.
trying to
Like,
figure
look at
that shit out.
TikTok. I'm like, I don't want to start all over, man. Come on, that's a lot.
Yeah, that's my whole thing. Is just trying to. I was like, It's me more being not as tech savvy as I need to be because like I have to produce all the shit myself, right? Like I don't have anybody who can be like, Eric, do this, do that. If I could get to the point where I can have someone handle my socials and be like, let me just see it before you fucking send it, so I can see what it is that you're sending. Because if it's not my type of message, I don't want you to send it for me. Okay, but if it's something, but I don't know how to make memes and shit. I still don't know how to make fucking memes. And memes have been around forever. I just recently downloaded a meme app so that I can start making memes. But you know, um, you know, these independent outlets, like again, other than YouTube, there's also independent reporters, guys like Jorge Ventura.
Yeah.
I love listening to Jorge Ventura. Okay, I started listening to him during COVID when he was covering the BLM riots on his own. He was just out there. He put on a fucking vest, put on a helmet. He went out there filming shit as the Marxists were burning down the country.
Another
You
con
know,
American people.
yeah. Anthony Cabas. Obviously, I listened to Linda Quadros too. These are people that I found during COVID and stuff like that. But you, like I said, I found you before all of them because you were already, doing things, talking about Trump and whatnot during his campaign. So like you were one of the first people. So I've been following you. My other account, the account that I have now, has been following you shorter than the first account that got nuked
I don't
by
stop
fucking
talking
Zach.
about Trump. I have been talking about Trump nonstop since 2015.
I love it though. That's
I,
what it should
I
be.
love him.
Listen,
He's my boyfriend.
yeah. But you keep it real though, Michelle. You have an opinion. You've actually met the man. You've hung out with the man. Okay, so you know the man. You know what I'm saying? So like, it's one of the reasons why I brought you on, because it's like I want people to understand, right,
He's
that
so real,
he's a good dude.
so genuine, and you know what I love about him? Besides everything, I really, really love that he looks you in the eye when he talks to you.
Yeah,
It's such like a big deal to have like the most popular, known, powerful man in the world just
yeah,
take a moment and look you in the eye and talk to you. And you're
yeah.
just, wow, dude, you're just like, you're one of us. You're just one of us. You may have come from money and made money and you're in money, but you're one of us. And
Right.
that's why they hate you, because you're not them and they can't buy him. And wants
He's
to, he wants to expose them.
yeah. Listen, I felt in his first administration that, he went in, okay, obviously he's different. He's never been a politician. Um, I felt like there was obviously some naivety there, but that's because he didn't know the inner workings of the swamp, right? But once you're in the swamp and you figure it out, okay, the minute he got rid of what was that idiot fucking Comey, the deep state closed ranks on him fucking fast. Okay, and then he had some idiots
And that's
that
why
were
he got rid of Fauci, because look at what happened when he got rid of Comey.
yeah.
If he got rid
Yeah,
of Fauci, oh my God, oh my
yeah,
God.
the deep state closed ranks on him, and he's a tactical dude. So, like, he does things with strategy and stuff like that. So, I do feel he's not perfect. We both said that. Okay, he's not the
Nobody's
fucking
perfect but Jesus.
nobody's perfect. Okay, and it's because he's imperfect. It's probably why I like him, because, like, he's gonna make mistakes. But I
And
don't think
God
this
uses
time around.
imperfect men.
Yeah,
God uses imperfect men to do his will.
yeah, yeah. I agree with you on that. Well, that's all through the Bible and throughout history. I agree.
Totally.
Um,
Like Donald Trump is like Daniel in the lion's den. He's David against Goliath. I mean,
yeah,
he's Solomon, you know? He's like he's this great biblical character.
yeah. He's constantly
Both
fighting.
times that we're living through right now.
Yeah, he's and I wish people would understand that he's actually fighting for us. Like, you
I
know,
think that people would understand how much they're missing by having TDS and
yeah,
not realizing the gift that God gave us when He gave us Donald Trump. Like he's so funny. You're
yeah,
just
he
missing
makes me laugh.
a comedy, man. Come on,
Yeah, I was talking to my mom yesterday. We were and we
Tucker,
were
man.
we,
So
we were
funny.
laughing at him.
And
Yeah, I was
just
talking to my
because
mother
he
yesterday.
doesn't work out, like he could totally do stand up.
Yeah, we were. I was talking to my mom yesterday, and we were just laughing at some of the shit that he said recently, and we couldn't stop
So
cracking up. I was like,
funny,
he's so funny.
quick,
He is.
very quick.
Yeah, he's a smart dude, right? Like, you don't get to where you're at, not even before becoming a president, just his history, his business history. You don't get to where you're at, all
Yeah,
right, and be a fucking idiot, all right. And people like to throw, well, he had some bankruptcies. Plenty of fucking people had bankruptcies and it made it out, all right. He actually turned his bankruptcies into a benefit, all right. And
yeah.
that should tell you even something different, that yeah, he had a bankruptcy and managed the fucking bankruptcies, okay, and managed to turn that shit around, and he's a billionaire.
You have
So like,
to succeed, and he's like the perfect example of that.
yeah.
Like he's
But
failed so
listen,
many times. What billionaire hasn't failed?
he I understood when he was I understood him really, where he was coming from when he was on stage with Hillary, right? And
Yeah,
they were debating, and when he essentially said, I'm fucking like, yeah, I know the system is rigged, okay?
because I
Because
used
like
to
because like I use it. You know what I'm saying? Like, and
that whole Dave Chappelle. Yeah,
I was like, and when David Chappelle said that again, I was like, yeah, I remember that. I was like, I remember that, but like, I remember that day. I was like, yo, he's not fucking wrong about it. Like, he's telling
and
you, yeah,
legend
I use it,
born.
and he's like, and you know who else uses it? She uses it, and all her friends and donors use it too. So like. I was like, man, the man is being real about it. Like, yeah, I use it, and the only way to fucking not use it is to fix it. But you're never gonna fix it because you use it. You know what I'm saying? So, I was
You know,
like, wow, he's being real about shit.
these fools are never going to vote to give themselves term limits.
It just,
They're not
it
going to
just,
vote for them to leave office. Are you kidding me? Are y'all crazy?
yeah,
I
Yeah, they never look how many of them they all become fucking millionaires, right?
the
They
only way
they go in.
is to vote them out.
Yeah, yeah, and that's but again, like people again, all the shit we've talked about aside, the reality is, all right, and I've said it in plenty of my videos that it all falls down on the fucking citizens, on you, the
Yeah.
American citizen, okay, to do your due diligence, to go get you an election ballot, okay, to find out who's on the ballot way ahead of time and do your research because they put out ballots ahead of time on who's going to be on the ballot, right? All right. You see primaries happening in your state and in local in your cities and stuff like that. All right. But it's up to you, America, to
But
fucking
people
get
say,
up off your
"Oh,
ass.
well, I don't get into politics." I'm like, yeah, politics gets into you. It gets
Yeah.
into your house. It gets into your children. It gets into your school. It gets
Yeah.
into your bank. It gets into your work. It gets into your pocketbook. Politics is getting into you, so you better get into it.
Yeah. Yeah. Politics is everywhere. Is in the
It's
culture. It's in
everywhere,
absolutely
especially
everywhere.
now. Everywhere.
Your Trumpies in the back hanging.
See, hi.
Say
Say
hi.
hi.
Cats
You
are
like that
awesome.
hat? Yeah, it's a good hat.
Yeah. He's just like, so, people they have to get up off their ass. Again, no matter who we like and who we dislike, right? It still comes down to the American citizen to do your due diligence, to fucking get up off your ass,
You
figure out
have
who's running.
one duty.
Yeah, one duty is to
Vote.
figure out is to vote. That's your only duty. That
That's
is
it.
literally
The one
the only
duty.
civic duty is to fucking vote. I
Vote
agree.
early and vote often.
Yeah, vote early and vote often. Yeah. And then if you're a Democrat and you die, you'll probably end up voting again. It's so true. So listen, I mean, if you want to stay on, we can stay on a little bit. We've been on for an hour. If you still got more
Have we?
time, we can keep going. Yeah, I
Even
told you it goes by quick. Yeah, we've been on for an hour.
that's
What
wild.
I have all time. I have all the time in the world. Like I said, I'm having a good time with this interview. I want people to know who you are, and you've gone a lot into Trump and who he is. And being part of the campaign and helping out and whatnot. So, I know that
The only
things are going
thing
to
I
be
can
gearing
say
up.
about Trump is that he's real and he's just no bullshit. He's just
Yeah.
not. He's just a really cool, real dude who has an exceptional family, who's very generous and kind. I mean, Junior is more Montana than Manhattan. He's
Yeah.
like so cool and down to earth, and Ivanka is like the most beautiful thing you'd ever seen in your real life.
Yeah, she's
Um,
gorgeous. She's
so
gor
gorgeous. Like you look at her in
she's
real life,
gorgeous.
like what's wrong with you? There's got to be something wrong with you.
Yeah,
Oh, you're thin, you're beautiful, you're smart.
yeah,
Like, what is wrong with you? Like, is your life perfect? I'm sure it's not. I'm sure there's something, but
right.
she's just stunning. And Eric and Laura are really nice. I mean, the only person I really want to meet is Melania, and I haven't
You
met.
haven't really met her?
No, I haven't met
Oh,
her.
that's sad. Yeah, I
She's
know you like yeah.
she's not out there in the open, and she doesn't.
She likes to stay in the back,
Yeah,
and she stays in the back and protects her son, which is what mama bears are
and
supposed to
she's
do,
a
right? Protect
supportive
their
wife
cubs.
from behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Like she doesn't have to be in the spotlight all the
Yeah,
time.
yeah, I know the what do you call it? The Marxist state media is always trying to peg her as someone who's fucking mad at her husband and all this other shit. It's obvious that she's not mad because, by all
Love
accounts,
each-
she probably could have fucking left his ass a long time ago, but she
Yeah,
hasn't. She loves him.
they
She
gen.
understands that he's flawed and she's stuck with him,
Yeah,
and that's just what it is. She
yeah.
made her bed. She's gonna sleep in it. And she's the real deal about it. She's like, listen, I
You
know who I'm with.
in that bed at Mar-a-Lago, you better believe it.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. She's like, I know who I'm with. Trust me, Melania knows who she's with. Otherwise,
I
she's
wouldn't
not a
leave
fucking moron.
way Jose.
Yeah.
I'm like, I want my last name to be Trump. All right, how do I got to do this? All right,
Yeah.
Don Jr. Hello, let's give a call.
Yeah, he's they all seem like they listen. If you look at the comparisons between the two families, the Biden family and the Trump family, there's no fucking comparison.
None, none.
It's actually unfortunate, right? Because, they had a shitty father, okay, who didn't take care of them, so their lives ended up being shitty. Their father wasn't in their
Look at
life.
Hunter. I mean, I look at Hunter and I see a victim.
Yeah.
I see somebody
Yeah,
his
by all
father.
accounts, yeah, by all accounts, the man is like on the drug side. He's fucking cleaned up his life. It looks like, right? Like it
I
looks that
hope
way.
so.
By all accounts, it looks like he's clean now, right? And I
The guy
hope
who
so. I really
saw
do.
the laptop knows the disgusting shit that was on there.
Yeah, I know. It just like Had they unleashed that during the time, and we gotten a fucking, they followed in the New York Post. New York Post started it, and they would have followed along with it, and the media did their job. We might be in a different place right now, but we're not. So,
But we're not. This is that hard. Yeah.
but we have to get together, America, and I think that Trump is on the unity train right now, and he's bringing people along with him. He's bringing in independents left and right.
RFKJ.
We got just a little bit over 70 days to save this country, all right? Because I think
Trump
if we
or it's
don't this
communism.
time,
Like
yeah, it's Trump or communism. It's
you
true.
can vote your way into communism, but you're gonna have to shoot your way.
Yeah, it's true. That is so true. All we have to do is, you know, I had Dick Salas, the comedian, Marine and comedian, on my show last Sunday, and we were talking about communism and history, and we talked about throughout history because he was talking about the Soviet Union, and I said, well, you don't even have to go that far to see what happened in our area. All you have to do is look at Venezuela, right?
Yeah.
I went to Venezuela in 1996, the year before Hugo Chavez got elected. I want to tell you that Venezuela has some of the most beautiful people and was one of the most beautiful countries. And the city of Caracas, where I went, was a fantastic and beautiful city to what do you call it, to visit. All right. I had a fantastic time there with my family, and we were only there for because we were on a cruise, so we were only there for like a day. But it was just a beautiful country. And then like the next year, I was in school at the time in college, and I remember I had a Venezuelan friend who was in my class, she was younger than me, and I just remember her fucking crying. And I was like, what are you crying about? She was like, you're not paying attention to what's going on in Venezuela. And I was like, why would I pay attention to what's going on in Venezuela? And I usually pay attention to shit in the world, but like, I was like, Venezuela is like a beautiful country. Like, I know you're Venezuelan.
People
What the
are
fuck?
wiping their ass with their money because their money is worth shit, and toilet
Yeah.
paper is worth more than
Yeah.
money.
Yeah. But just like, all we have to do is look at my point was with him was that all we have to do is look at what Venezuela did in a short period of time when Hugo Chavez nationalized all their economy and the state media and all that other stuff.
Look
That
at
was the end of the
any
country.
major city in America.
Yeah, that's
Look
true. All you got to do
at
is,
San Francisco. Look at look at DC. Look at New York City. These are
yeah,
cities that I have gone to that were once gorgeous, beautiful, thriving cities, and now
yeah.
you're not paying me to step foot in any of these places. I watched
Listen,
DC change in a matter of, I don't know, 2 to 4 years. Not even. I'd say 2 years. I watched DC change. It just all of a sudden tent cities were popping up everywhere, and I'm like,
uh,
this wasn't happening when I first started coming.
so so I'm old enough to remember. I worked EMS for a little bit, not for New York City, but I worked. I was a volunteer EMT for a couple of years. But I'm old enough to remember the first heroin outbreak in New York City,
Yeah,
being a Gen Xer, and like, I mean, heroin was kind of has always been there, but like, I remember how bad it got. Then I
yeah.
saw cocaine. Then I saw like the rise of cocaine and then crack. Okay, and I got to see all the endemics, epidemics of
The AIDS
happen in New York
epidemic.
City. The AIDS. I got to see all of that happen in New York City growing up
Yeah,
there. Okay, and then I also got to see what it was like to be a free and safe city under Giuliani, right?
yeah.
When I got out of the Marine Corps
Rudy
in
is such
19.
a nice guy. He's
I
so
know he's awesome. When I got out of the Marine Corps in 1995, I came home in 96, January 96, and he was already the mayor. Okay. My mom was a police, she's a retired police officer for the city of New York. Okay. And so I got to see him change the city in like no time flat, right? 8 years of straight, like, just it was awesome. He cleaned up Times Square was a cesspool. I remember Times Square when it was littered with like fucking porno theaters and all that other shit, hookers everywhere. That was like, it was just crazy. It was bananas. He cleaned all that shit up. He brought, surprisingly enough, I shit on them all the time. He brought Disney in to buy some of the buildings. They brought MTV in, ABC. They brought in a Disney store and all that other stuff, and then it shot off from there. Right? He did such a good job that even after he left after 9/11, that when Bloomberg came in, he didn't change a thing.
That's it. It was still good
Okay,
under a
he
Democrat.
he didn't change a thing. Okay, and Bloomberg turned into an independent slash freaking Democrat, but still, when it came to economics, he didn't change a thing that Giuliani did. And then the fucking commie came in,
Cuomo.
Diasio, no,
Oh,
Diasio,
De Blasio. That's right.
yeah, Diasio.
He was
My
before. He was before Cuomo.
No, Cuomo was the governor.
Oh, the governor.
Yeah, yeah, Cuomo was the
Okay,
governor.
that's right.
And
Okay.
then it was, but and
Okay.
Diasio was the mayor of New York City.
Yes, yes, yes. Okay.
And in no time flat, everything that Giuliani did and Bloomberg kept
It's
in
gone.
place, it's gone. And within his
And that's how
first
fast.
administration, Yeah,
So
within
fast.
his first administration, city went down. I don't go into New York City for shit if I don't have to. Okay. The last time I went in, and I didn't even go into the city. I went to Queens to go watch the fucking my shitty ass Mets play. They happened to win that day, thankfully. All right. But I don't go into New York City for anything if I don't have to. I just won't do it. And I'm not. I mean, I'm not staying in New York anyway
I
because I'm leaving soon.
don't, okay.
Yeah. I just if
Like,
I don't need to go in, I don't like being around people anyway. So
yeah.
it gets crazy. um all right, so what do you have planned? What do you got going on? Let people know what's going on with you. Like
Well,
I
on my Instagram, which is inamimiminute, and on my Rumble, which is fancimimi with an I. I do daily MAGA videos. I was doing update news videos for a while, just me and my cat.
I was wondering when you're gonna bring that back in a mimi minute. I was like,
The
bring
enemy
that shit back.
back when Mimi has something to say, but I'm just tired of spewing out the same dribble as everybody else. When
Yeah, I feel you.
go on a rant, then I'll get on. But I
Yeah,
like right now I'm compiling a lot of like news stories and memes and making musical reels out of them, which has
I've
been
been
fun. And then I'll throw in like a flashback Trump video from back in the day,
yeah,
or
I repost
I'll
your stuff every day, as you see. um I repost your shit every morning. The minute I get up and I get on to see what I'm gonna either repost or post myself, I'm like, up, she's got one in. Let me repost this for her.
yeah, it's fun. Some of my videos have gotten some really good views. I've got a couple up in the millions, so that's really great. But yeah, I'm shadow banned right now because
Yeah. I
you know,
I
I
I
shared
know
Trump with his fist in the air, and the fact checker said that wasn't true.
I I used it as a thumbnail for my video the night that he got shot, and I jumped on a live. So like I'm glad YouTube didn't take it down. They didn't. They
That's
left
good.
my thumbnail is still there, and I'm very
That's
surprised by it. I was like, wow, they didn't fucking like 86 that shit. And like my videos are filled with profanity anyway, so like, I now I know you don't like YouTube, but you have to come on one of my lives at some point. You
all right.
have to come on a
All
Sunday.
right. I,
Okay, because like I you know the reason I said it because there's I have a few people that come on and they comment. Okay, and sometimes I have two people, sometimes I have three people, and the interaction is very, very good.
oh,
And I think it would be fantastic if you came on and done an actual lot do an actual live with me on a Sunday someday. I go live on Sunday at 7 p.m.
okay.
So if you can open up your calendar, by all means.
That's
And
almost
serious. Huh? I
that's
know.
my head.
Trust me, when I get done, and I only do that for an hour because I'm done at 8 o'clock. I'm like, I'm not going past 8 because like I got to get my ass to sleep because I got to get up. I work a 9 to 5. Fortunately, I work from home, but I get up and go to the gym at like
Yeah,
5 o'clock in the morning.
that
So
early too. I just feel like I have more day if I get up at like 5 or 6.
yeah. And if you can somehow arrange to get Montega to come on with him, and let's all have a fucking dialogue, a three-person dialogue, and do a live and just talk, and like what we did today, because
Okay.
this has been fantastic.
But if
and
that
and I
happens, I'm just gonna sit back here and be quiet because Tony will talk. Tony will talk, 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 talk,
I
talk.
know. I know. You know what though? I'm
He
okay
talks
with
like
Tony
Trump, but
talking though.
he'll talk.
Yeah, but that's okay. I'm okay with him because like if you watch any of his videos, like he's bringing fucking knowledge, right? So it's
No,
not
he's
like he's
real
he's not
smart.
stupid.
He's got a story to tell. He's definitely got a story to tell.
Yeah. But definitely. But I would want you to come on with me because like if you're gonna help me get somebody, I want you on the show. I don't want it to be a dolo
No,
thing.
I
I
get.
want you to come on because like I'm a very appreciative person when people help me out. You coming on and doing this with me today, recording this video with me, okay, is doing me a favor, because I
No, I
get to post it. I get
appreciate
to tell my followers, hey, tune into this, all right, because you're gonna like it. It's about Trump, and the
yeah,
people who follow me are Trumpies anyway. So
I'm good talking about Trump. It's other things that I'm like, oh, I don't know what to say. With Trump, it just kind of flows because it was the
well,
experience that I had with
It
him.
it's again, you have actual interaction with him, right? Like you're the
Yeah,
only person I know
so
in
cool.
my orbit that actually has like had interaction with him on more than one occasion. So that's why I was like, I got to bring her on. We got to talk
Yeah,
about
it's
this
amazing.
shit.
I look back and I'm like, holy shit. I'm so fucking lucky and blessed, and I'm so grateful. Like, who does that? Like, who just random chick out of nowhere, some hairstylist, just all of a sudden, boom, and I'm like, I'm in it. I'm in the Oval. I'm in the White House. I'm at Mar-a-Lago. I'm here. I'm here. Like Trump is shaking my hand and thanking me, and he's like hugging me, and it's just like, oh my god, it's just
Yeah, I mean
it's
that's
insane, man.
but
It's
it's stuff that you'll remember forever, right? And like
no, for sure.
any if there are any kids in your family, right? Like, any nieces or nephews and stuff like that, you'll be able to talk that shit with them, you know?
My best
Uh
friends are my nieces and nephews.
well, but even
Yeah,
then, but even so, you'll be able to talk to them about
and
the
love
experience,
they
right?
love Trump. They love that. I took their parents to Mar-a-Lago too. So I took my best friend and her husband to Mar-a-Lago.
That's dope.
Her son, she has two daughters and a son, and her son is real juicy. So I
Uh-huh.
was like, oh my, you got a Donald Trump butt. You're so juicy. So he goes around everywhere and he's like, I got a Donald Trump butt. I'm juicy. And she
Fucking kids
calls
are
me from
silly.
Disney World once and she's like, I just want to let you know that my son is going around Disney World telling everybody that he's Donald Trump butt. I'm like, that's my boy. That's my boy. I trained him good. That's my boy.
That's funny. That's good shit.
So
It's
cute.
just like with
Like,
me,
I
I'm actually
got a Donald Trump butt. I'm like, yes,
like
you do,
l-
honey.
like believe it or not, I'm a grandfather, all right? So it's like my son has got my grandson just turned 5. So, I saw him a couple of weeks ago for his birthday, and it's just great. I can spoil the shit out of him and just give him
No, for
right
sure.
back to my son.
Yeah. Yeah. Fun.
you know and just give him everything, and hey, go back to dad and stuff like that. But he's such a good kid. He's a phenomenal little young man. He's so smart. His
Oh,
father's smart too. So his dad used to, like I said, he was fixing my son was fixing F-18s, and
yeah.
he's a complete mechanic. He's been fixing cars since he was like fucking 12.
Well,
That's his thing, you
that's so
know.
great.
He's just like he likes it right now. He welds his own shit now. He's got his own property with his new wife and everything like that. And he's building shit in his barn and stuff like that, welding stuff together. He's just that kind. He's just very, very mechanical and very smart. So it's good to see that my grandson is like sharp as a fuck. God, he's sharp as a knife. I mean, like he picks up really, really quick. He's like, Grandpa,
Yeah.
what about this? And kids ask, especially 5 years old, they ask a million questions. So like you gotta be careful how you answer. But like, in our family with the
You don't
kids,
want to lie.
always say again.
You don't want to lie to them either.
No, no, no. That's what I'm saying. Like,
Yeah.
in our family, that's the one thing we always did in our family is we talk to the kids.
Yeah.
We never lied to them. We may just, make sure we said it in a way that not only they can understand, but like, for their age, what's appropriate. And then as they get older, if they ask, you add on top of that. When they get old enough to understand completely, then you just give them the full meaning. But you never lie to them. You give them the head start, and
That's it.
then wait for them to come back to you and ask you a million questions. But Mimi, it has been fantastic having you on.
Yeah.
Like I said, you absolutely have to come on alive. I know you hate YouTube, but you got to come on. Your
Dude,
voice is a very
I'll
important.
promise you with that.
Huh?
I'll
What's that?
promise you.
All right, I'm gonna hold you to that pinky promise.
But
Your voice is just needed, right? Like you just, I want more people to understand and hear about Trump. And
we need more women
again,
speaking out.
what's that?
We need more women speaking out.
Yes, I would like, it's why I'm doing this, right? Because like we got enough dudes out here, me too, I rant all the fucking time, right? We need more women to come
Yeah.
out and show that hey, he's the real deal. And again, I brought you on
Is
because
the
like you
real deal. And
you you met
he
him.
never, ever, ever tried to grab me by the pussy. He never did. He never would. He was
Holy shit.
so always just so good and kind to me and respectful. I mean, he worked with me,
Oh,
but
fuck Mimi. Oh my God, you're awesome. I love you. I swear I love you. I gotta make it down to Florida just so we can fucking hang. I'm serious. Well, I'll be moving to the area soon anyway.
all
Close,
right.
not too Florida, but close. Again, you gotta come on the live. The interaction with, I got one guy who he actually this one guy, he's a mod for like three other creators, all right? And he does their live feeds all the time, and he mods for them. And then while he's modding for them, he comes on and he drops little tidbits. He's a complete Trump dude. He's a Gen Xer like us, and fucking hates commies like we do.
Oh yeah,
And the interaction is great. He helps my flow all the time when he's on. And
cool.
I got a friend that I started following in IG, so around the same time I started following you, Rosie Riveter, she comes on, and she comments too, and it makes the flow go very, very
Cool.
well. So
All right,
again,
cool.
I really appreciate you.
Thank you for having
Just Yeah, I just stick around so we can talk really quick. But cause before I end the recording. But anyway, I just want to thank you and thank you for coming on. Can't wait to have you again. And America, I am the Big Red One guy signing out. Remember that together we must break the machine, and only together can we break that machine. God bless you all, and God bless America. Have a good night. See you all in the next one.